Stop Killing Games movement is probably one of the few movements in video game history where almost every single person agrees on outside of people that are essentially game devs. So, what is the Stop Killing Games movement? The Stop Killing Games movement is a movement that basically says, hey, if these games are online, then what you should allow us to do is to basically, once you want to take the servers down or completely get rid of the game per se, you can just make the game offline. Make it where it no longer gets updates or anything like that, or make it where someone else has kind of the rights to buy the game or the game servers so they can pay to keep it up, essentially. And a lot of people really agree with this movement, right? Because it's basically just saying, I want to be able to indefinitely play whatever game that I pay for. And this really happens a lot of the time with less popular MMOs or just some like online fighting games. It really happens with as well. Especially once their player base just like completely vanishes from the game and it's left with only the super, super dedicated fans. And this is one of those movements that I don't see why there's an issue with, right? The only reason that there is an issue with this movement, from what I can tell, is basically because the game devs are a bunch of criers. Like, that's about it. Now, I don't know every single little detail about code or anything like that. I'm going to preference that. But one thing I do know is when you're making a game, it doesn't spawn online, you know? You don't make the video game and then it gets to become online instantaneously. It's like, no, usually you make the game, you make maybe a co op, you make an offline version, and then what do? Then you create the online version. So to do this, basically, all they would have to do is delete the version of the online, literally, or just make it where they can send out copies to everybody or something like that. And it's just absolutely diabolical to me that people disagree with this, especially like you have like Power Software who disagrees with this. You have just basically anybody that's ever been a game dev in their entire life disagreeing with this, outside of a couple. And this is a big, big movement, mainly in Europe. We would love to see something like this happen in America, but Europe is the primary place. Like stuff like this just doesn't happen in America usually when it comes to video games, just in general. So if we look here, Video Games Europe gives scathing response to Stop Killing Games. Video Games Europe is a lobby made up of several of the world's biggest publishers to try and advocate for European game devs. However, their response to Stop Killing Games uh, initiative isn't exactly supportive of what EU gamers are advocating for. Stop Killing Games hit 1 million signatures despite doubts that the petition would get enough signatures to get the notice of the European legislators. In the wake of the milestone, Video Game Europe felt the need to respond as the largest video game lobby in EU. And from my understanding, they basically needed 1 million signatures, not only just to get noticed, but for it to be taken seriously. And I think it's so crazy that basically they can get 1 million signatures and then they can just slap it down. Yeah, no, yeah, no, screw that. I don't want that to happen. Like that's kind of what this feels like because they go into this. We're not gonna go through and read every little thing in this article, but basically to summarize what this article says is they say, well, we understand the initiative, but in general, the initiative sucks because it would cost too much money for us to do. Oh yeah, thanks guys. Thanks. That's what a good take, right? What a absolutely amazing take, guys. It would just cost us too much money to make a game that already has an offline mode offline. God, why would we do that? It would cost us too much money to sell the servers to someone else. What? Maybe they lose a little bit of money for like overall like maybe a little bit of reprogramming here and there, but they're not really losing that much, right? In the grand scheme of how much they made, they aren't losing a bunch of money, and I just think it's absolutely crazy that that's kind of their response to this. It is just too much money, so sad, elbozo, your 1 million signatures doesn't matter. Now, obviously, this could change, like going into the future, if maybe there's something that happens on like a board or something. I don't know how this really works in Europe, but in general, the Stop Killing Games movement is a really good movement. And this is exactly why it's probably going to get slapped down in every single country. Is because the game devs are just going to cry about how a game that's initially built off of line in the first place takes too much to make it offline again, which is just like not true. Unless you're like in the ground basis of like the code and how the game works is it requires it to be online, then there is physically no reason why the stop killing games movement shouldn't be able to like do what it wants to do. Essentially, it's just absolutely crazy. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the stop killing games movement. I think it's a little bit ridiculous that they could just get slapped down after basically getting the required amount. I don't know. I think that's a little silly. I think there's probably going to be some backlash behind that. But yeah, let me know in the comments below and hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful night. Peace.